Hello, welcome back, guys. I'm just giving you guys an update here on what's been going on with this planting I made here a while back. I've had plants in it, and what's basically going on is I had a small pump circulate the water that's already passing through my sump, and the water will come inside and feed this higher tower water block that I made, and then it trickles out into the smaller one where it dumps in, and then it fuels this one right here. And so what I did was basically drill holes here, and so the water will come out of here where it's getting filtered one final time to a micron. And this is how I had it for some time now since I made that last build. I did have some metal clamps here, but chain, but they started to oxidize, so I took them out, and this is something I have going on temporarily until I can figure this out. When I made these out of a plexiglass that I cut to fit, and they've been doing pretty well so far. I had experimented with a lot of plants in here, and they come and go, and I use them, plants that I've gotten here, and I put them in several of my other tanks. I did take some of my house plants, the pothos, and I cut them, and they started to string out where the areas where I cut. Just from being in the water, they started to string out. So you got a lot of possibilities. Just sticking them in water alone, and they started to string out pretty well. So what I want to do is I want to change this up a little bit. And since I'm using all this space here, there's nothing here, I want to sort of move this plant filtration down some, which will allow me to shift all this over. And I'm thinking about maybe 4 to 6 inches I have space before I hit this glass baffle that I built inside of it. So this is my point where I cannot pass anymore, because this is a glass baffle that I built when I built this sump that's siliconed in there, so I can't pass that. This is like a little small wall check. So I'm going to slide this over about 5 or 6 inches, and that'll give me enough space to put something else that I came up with. I made this right here. Again, this is just light baffling that you can get anywhere, and I cut it to fit. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my biomaterial in here and have this sort of facing the glass viewing panel here. And I went ahead and cut me down a sheet that'll fit right in here. I don't need to worry about securing it, because the material I put in here will keep this pushed up against here. And so the concept that I have in mind is that the water will pass through here and keep going on its way, and filter out as it can. And this is important because some time ago I made these, I put these bivalve filtration in here, and it's been a long time, and you can see I love what it's doing. You've got a lot of good action going on there, but the downside is that this metal is starting to oxidize here, and it's a little unsightly and probably unsafe. It's going down as well. Plus I'm losing some air exchange here, so I need to go ahead and seal this up. But this was something I came up with since I already have an overflow on this corner wall here, to take the water that's already being pushed into here with a small pump, and then the pump sends the water back up in here, and it's just getting sort of filtered again, and it trickles back down into here before it goes down into the main sump. So there's a pump right here that does the job here, and there's one on the other side. So I'm just going to take all this off, seal these lids back up, and take the majority of this I can save, and stick it into this thing here that I just made. And so that's the plan. And like I said, I think I can fit it right here within 6 inches. I just have to slide everything over and put this sort of in there and use it as a final bio check. So let's get started on this and see where it goes. So with it gone like the way I used to have it, you can see I had a nice spacious open wall, and I decided to add these two on there just as an additive filtration. And you know, I like the idea, but I think I like it just better open and put my lids back on there, clean it all up. The product is not bad, as you can see, it does the job very well, and it trickles it down. Like I told you earlier, the pump pulls it in from overflow. It comes through here and it goes through a series of these connected loops that have holes in them so that it sprinkles water straight down. And they're made to be where you can keep adding or taking away with these quick connect links. And then you can just keep stacking the tray as high as you wanted it, provided you put a longer hose and of course maybe a stronger pump. But this little pump manages to send water all the way evenly to the very end where there's a cap on it, and so the water stops there and everything just trickles down. You get good action. And just to give you an idea, I took one apart here. So it's a long riding tray with the holes underneath where the water spills out. But you can see I just have a problem with the metal. If they had made this plastic, it probably would have been a better idea. So Chinese made, and it was something I was trying to. Originally I wanted to put this in the sump, but if I was to do it down here, it would require a sort of elevation to keep it above the water, of course, so that the pump's sending the water back down. So there would be two issues I'd have to tackle if I decided to put these in the sump. Is that I'd have to first elevate it, and then I had to send power to it by sending the pump to send the water back up and feed it into it. So these things right here, they're quick connects, as you can see, and you can take them apart with these extenders and put in between them, but they do the job pretty well. They shoot the water, they spray straight down, and these are made to go all the way down, and they basically sit on top of these trays like this, and wherever you have these links is sort of where this sort of meets. So the water will go down distributed evenly into the holes and then go into the next tray. If you have more than one, it just keeps doing its job. So it's a pretty nice idea. These are not, this kit was not too expensive. I want to say it was around maybe, I don't know, 40, 50 bucks for the kit. And it comes with the lids as well. So you have a lot of, you know, to keep the evaporation down. Now, there's a lot of options you could do with something like this, and maybe later on I'll use it somewhere else. But if I decide to go with this, you know, my only problem would be if I put this below the water is that the water will not be passing through the sides. So, I mean, I want water to pass through the material from one side to the other. So, you know, I'd have to take the time to make a bunch of holes in this so that I get a good water passing through this, but it just doesn't seem feasible. So I'll think of something else down the road and figure out how I can maybe add it on here somewhere, but I have quite a bit going on already. And you know, I've got my main trays here that collect everything, and the main bio which has pads and collects everything. And these are the two main filtration systems going there, mainly this one, the secondary. And then I have, as I explained before, I have these sponge blocks, these checks, where the water has to pass through these walls, and it's really coarse here, and then it's really fine detail to catch the fine particles on this end. So along with all of that, I have, you know, biological material filtration on the bottom with the pot scrubbers that are, this whole half of the bottom of that area you can't see is all pot scrubbers straight down, or at least to right here. And then I have the ceramics. I got a lot of biomaterial going on, and then I wanted this to be, after it passes sponge check here, where I have the plants coming in right here, taking what they need, spewing it back into the micron filter, and then I want to add this guy right in here in between so I can get this these bio balls in here, and then I'll think what I'm going to do next here. But in the future I can probably use this for another idea, but I'm going to take them down for now and we'll see what goes there. Alright, so I got it in there. I moved everything over to make some adjustments. We have to figure out my filter sock here with the little bit of space I got. I could push it down more, but then I'd be eventually hitting that sponge wall I had there, and I don't want me to block that sponge wall with plexiglass and stop circulation. So I need to have at least about an inch space between that sponge and the wall. That's need to have about an inch space there so that it can pass the water through and keep passing. So this is as tight as I got it. Again, I'm gonna have to figure out how to put my filter sock in here. I mean, I could just discharge the water straight into here, but I like the idea of this little pump here, taking any water that's in this little area here and sort of feeding it to the plants, and then plants take what it needs, and then it filters into a microsot to get any finer particles, because I can easily swap out these socks with no problem than me taking out these sponge walls and letting all that water pass through. So I do these in stages, one at a time, you know, for that reason. But the micron sock helps me from having to constantly keep working on my final block here. So let's keep working and see where we go. It all cleaned up now. I got the bio balls in there. The plexiglass that I wanted to put here, I didn't need it. This is butt up against there, but I did put it on top of there to counterweight the offset of the floating bio balls. I was able to move my filtration just slightly a little closer, and this is temporary, so I figured out a better thing. But pump's coming in, shooting water into the first tall container, it drips down, shoots in here, comes in here, filters out, and there's an extra hose line that's connected there, which comes over here, and I just had to sort of have it pouring in there, keep the surface tension from getting still stagnant. So this is pretty good there. So this is where I'm at now, and I will continue on, and let's keep going. So I'm starting to disassemble now this trickle filter system I got going on here. And you see I'm going to completely turn off 2 pumps that was coming already in overflow and filtering back up. But here you can see closely that the water just drips down and it collects in this tray. And then there's these 1.5 inch holes, 2 inch holes here that drop the water on both sides here, and then the other side goes straight down already into the overflow. So it's just recycling water and filtering it in and then sending it back in. But you can see here the water being in contact with the atmosphere is causing this oxidation here, and I just don't like this. So I'm going to go ahead and clean all this up, take all this out of here, and put the lids back on. And you can see how these work right here. They just they're fed into a power hose, and then what it does is it tees off. It tees off and it shoots the water continuously all the way down. As far as you want to go, if you got a strong enough pump that can send it straight down, that's fine. This pump is more than efficient to do this entire thing. And in some cases, well, you'd have to need a longer tray, but I just partitioned it. Just put a pump on that side to run all of this, and then I put a pump on this side to trickle all this down. But now you're seeing that these just come apart, and you take all the lids off and you just start de-stacking them one by one. And I'll be collecting all this material and saving as much as I can and stick it down below. So stay tuned for that.